Better way to do this tomorrow night would actually be to allow the candidates to have as many staff as they want join them on the stage throughout the debate and make sure that all of them have microphones.
You're not very bright, are you?
So I thought I was going to be done talking about the first Trump-Biden debate, but then there was something so dumb on MSNBC that it reeled me back in and I had to do a video on it. As you heard in the beginning of the video, that was Lawrence O'Donnell laying out his adjustments to the rules, which would include allowing staff on the stage to answer questions and having them wear microphones. To be fair to O'Donnell, which I don't really like doing, the point he's trying to make is that the job of president requires you to have advisors around that you can ask questions to, and that adjusting the rules would allow the American public to see how a potential president interacts with his staff. The first issue with this is that staff comes and goes. It's going to be constantly changing over the course of the presidency. That's why we elect a candidate and they hire a staff. Secondly, I think it's pretty hilarious that this is being suggested because they have a candidate that can barely form complete sentences, and instead of electing a nominee with a working brain, we'll just have debates with an entire staff on the stage. Here are the full comments by O'Donnell, where he actually starts out by using George Washington as an example, saying that he didn't debate, therefore why should any of the presidents have to debate, which is ironic considering that the left-wing media is usually talking about the founding fathers as if they're the worst people in American history.
George Washington never debated. Abraham Lincoln famously participated in the Lincoln-Douglas debates, but that was in a Senate campaign that Abraham Lincoln lost. We had 34 presidents in a row who never debated to get the job. The debate will begin with a question, with candidates each allotted 2 minutes to respond. This will be followed by 1-minute rebuttals and responses to the rebuttals. In the job of the presidency, the president is never forced to give 2-minute replies or 60-second replies about anything, ever. Campaign staff may not interact with their candidate during that time. That could not be more childish and unrealistic. Presidents always can confer, not just with their staffs and the cabinet, but with the very best experts in the world on every subject at any time for as long as they want. A better way to do this tomorrow night would actually be to allow the candidates to have as many staff as they want join them on the stage throughout the debate and make sure that all of them have microphones. And the candidates should be allowed to turn to their staffs and confer with them about anything at any time in the debate. And we should be able to hear everything they say, so we can hear if the candidate has competent or incompetent staff. We could hear the candidate overrule some advisors and say something else. We could watch the candidates actually think and process information, including possibly information that they might not know until a staff member tells them or reminds them. A candidate should be allowed to let staff members actually answer questions for them, just as the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, answers questions on behalf of the president around the world, as has every Secretary of State in history. That's the way the presidency actually works. The presidency does not involve oral exams and memory quizzes. The president is allowed to forget what the marginal income tax rate is on couples filing jointly with an income of $150,000. There's always someone in the room who knows the answer to that kind of thing, which, by the way, is 22%. And I don't know that because I used to write tax law and I memorized all the tax brackets. I know that because I just looked it up. That's the way governing works. People are allowed to look up whatever fact they need whenever they need it, and they're allowed to forget those facts when they don't need it because they'll always be able to retrieve those facts one way or another when they do need it.
Now, because we're on the topic of the first debate, if you would like to relive what a disaster Joe Biden is on the debate stage, here are some highlights.
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall.
The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID.
I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if We finally beat Medicare.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me.
According to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him.
On the total initiative. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down.
And these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable.
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office.
What are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam, and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
People who, the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones he said, I think they're fine people on both sides.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that story.
And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance.
I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O.
And by the way,
so every day,
he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels.
To build these chips. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I had, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Let's
Let's not act like children.
George Washington never debated.